Hey everyone, welcome back to another online battle. Today we've got the Skaven versus the Dark Elves. So I brought this Skaven army. It is an army specifically built to counter an air assault. So Skaven do struggle against a lot of air units. Even a couple of air units can end up taking them out quite easily. Unfortunately, in this battle he didn't bring Malekith, which I was planning on. I was hoping he was going to bring Malekith and maybe a dragon, but that didn't end up eventuating. So, as you can see, I'll run through what my army was. We had two Skaven slave slingers and 2 gutter runners. They were to take out the air unit when they were locked down by the Gracier of Ruins. The Gracier of Ruin has the Scorched in order to take out the large massed units, and the main ability that we're looking at here is where is it? Not the Warp Lightning, Howling Warp Gale, that's it. It locks flying enemies down so they cannot move. So if an enemy has any flying units that may be troublesome for you, you can lock them down and take them out with your gutter runners and Skaven slave slingers. Jeez, that's hard to say. And finally, we have a front line of our plague monks in order to take out the enemy's infantry, hopefully being less armored because they are good against low armored units. We have our Plague Claw Catapult in order to draw the enemy towards us, and a Hell Pit Abomination and some Clan Rat Spears in order to protect that Plague Claw Catapult. Finally, we've got an Assassin with our Gracier in order to use his slow abilities and also his major debuff abilities that you can see over there. So they can debuff enemy lords quite significantly and take them out. I also had some rat ogres in order to disrupt and hopefully take out any cavalry they may have had. Unfortunately, my enemy did not bring any air units, so the Gracier of Ruin did not end up being as useful as I had hoped. The enemy has brought a front line of Dread Spears, so quite a cheap unit, with some backup of some Black Corsairs and Harganeth Executioners. So he does have quite a strong front line, I must say. And he's backed this up with quite a number of Dark Shards. So he's fairly immobile. The only really fast unit he has is the Cold One Dread Knights, but that won't really matter in this instance because I was hoping to find a bunch of air units, which did not end up happening. So we'll see how this goes. My Plague Claw Catapult is pounding the enemy as much as it possibly can. I probably should have targeted the Harganeth Executioners, but I did not scout that very well. I failed to see them massed up amongst all those units. And he was quite grouped up. I should have brought these Skaven slave slingers up earlier as well. I didn't know he had the Dark Shards because they were hidden by their ability. I only just found out about them when they started firing upon me, which was one of the issues I ended up having. Warp Lightning going down on the Black Ark Corsairs, not really doing quite as much damage as I had hoped. Bit of bad targeting here on my behalf, most certainly. This was one of my earlier games. I've finally gotten my gutter runners into these Dark Shards in order to try and take them out as much as I possibly can. I've realised that my Skaven Slave Spears are not going to be that useful in the back line, so I'm charging them in. And we now have our frontline engagement occurring. Plague Rats coming up against Black Ark Corsairs. Probably not the greatest combination. The Harganeth Executions are just going to rip through my front line. There's not a lot I can do about that. And as you can see, my Grey Seer of Ruin and my Assassin are being soul-stealed by Malekith, which is not good for me. I am trying to use those to some sort of effect, but there just wasn't that greater engagement for them, unfortunately. My Skaven Slave Slingers are not really doing as much as they could have been. They're not that great against all this heavily armoured units. My Rat Ogres did get into the back of these Dark Shards though, which was pretty good. Over here we do have these Cold One Dread Knights chasing off my Gutter Runners, which was not great. They should have been over here taking out these Dark Shards, unfortunately. And my Assassin should have been over here on Malekith, but he ended up caught up in these Dread Spears. So the tide of battle looks like it's significantly turning against me here, with my units grouping up quite a bit too heavily. Taking out that Plague Claw Catapult was definitely good for him. I should have protected that much better. And these Dark Shards just getting too many shots off. With my Plague Rats. Plague Monks not really doing all that much at the moment, which was silly. Oh, and that just ripped me to shreds there, that Blade Wind. Very well done on the Dark Elf side, from the Dark Elf player. I did get a little bit of a Warp Lightning hit over here, but it doesn't seem to have as much effect as you would like, unfortunately. My Hell Pit Abomination hasn't done too badly, considering all these Dark Shards. They should have definitely targeted my Hell Pit Abomination down first, those Dark Shards. Bit of a mistake on their behalf. They could have won this quite a bit more convincingly. I needed to get these Skaven Slave Slingers in quicker too, to take out the Haganeth. I don't know what I would do to get rid of these Haganeth Executioners. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot of armor piercing in my arsenal, except for my Hell Pit Abomination. My Grey Seer Ruin isn't too bad against armor piercing as well, for armored. But I think I've just taken a few too many losses with that Haganeth Executioner still being quite alive at this point. My Gutter Runners have done alright against the Cold One Dread Knights. I am attempting to chase off all these Dark Shards with my Grey Seer of Ruin. It is kind of working, but these Dread Spears have come back, which is not very helpful for me. Now my Hell Pit Abomination is getting into these guys, but I believe there's just too many of them. These Skaven Slave Slingers should have been in here earlier. Quite a few mistakes on my behalf here. Missed micro of units that could have turned the title battle in my favour. Yeah, as you can see, the Dark Elf player just ends up with too many troops left over. Too many spears and those Haganeth Executioners. So they slowly but surely mop up my remaining forces. And that ends up, eventually, as you can see here, being a Pyrrhic victory towards the Dark Elves. So this army is very good, but it's very situational too. So if he had brought Malekith on a dragon and a couple of extra air units, maybe one extra dragon, like a lot of Dark Elves seem to be doing, then this would have gone a lot better. I could have locked him down with the Grey Seer of Ruin and absolutely pummeled him with my Skaven Slave Slingers and my Gutter Runners. But unfortunately he brought everybody on the ground, so it didn't quite work out as I had hoped. But I hope you've enjoyed anyway, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye!